Hey everyone, it's Lisa with Primitive Gatherings, and yes, we are a little late today. We've had some technical difficulties with our camera, which we do not understand because we just shot a video maybe an hour ago. So Kaylee, show them what's happening.
Okay.
So this is our problem. So when we shoot to our different camera angles, we're being blocked by something and we have no idea what it is. So that's why we were trying to figure out previously. So jump on, say hello, do all the things that you normally do. We'll just carry on. There's only one thing we can do, right? So let's just talk a little bit about Hogs for Heroes, where we're at. We are at $32,722. Isn't that crazy? Super excited. We still have some things to do to raise some more money, which would be an auction. I want to auction off one of my quilts. We have some prizes. We have our Hexies for Heroes quilt that we're going to auction off as well. And when we set that date, we'll all let you know. And we just want you to be aware that those things are still coming yet. We were trying to do some labels. Terry ran into a little snag with Spoonflower, so we're working on that. And then I wanted to do a t-shirt that has the Hogs for Heroes logo on the back. And then on the front saying like, I stitched for a hog for a hero or something like that. We'll think of something fun on the front of the t-shirt with the Hogs for Heroes logo on the back. So that's one of the other things we have still in the makings, and we just found out that we could use their logo to do that with. So that's what's going on with that. So we do have some prizes today, so let's go through those. We have a Yuletide Gatherings flannel charm pack. We have the Yuletide Gathering book, which I just pushed over there while we were having technical difficulties. We have this Fat Quarter bundle of American Gatherings, and this is on our website as well. Jess, was this $20 or $25 for this bundle of 4, 3, and 3?
25 of 10. 25 for 10.
$25 for 10 Fat Quarters. So we're going to give one of those away, and if you need some more of this fabric, this is the bundle that we have going on. And then we're going to give away a red, white, and blue, or red, gray, and blue wool charm here as well. And here's the book, Yuletide Gathering. So we have 4 prizes as giveaways today. So I will put these off to the side and give them to Carrie. So when we call off a winner, we can get that to the right person. Is our gremlin still in residence?
Yep.
We'll also have some of these available on the website as well. Those will be $20.
Okay, $20 for this bundle as well if you need some red, white, and blue, or red, gray, and blue. Okay, so we are going to do a little bit of a tutorial on the finishing, but let me just get through a little bit more of my announcements before we move on to that. We have some happenings at the gathering. Debbie Maddie, we still have a couple spots for the 3-day and the 1-day if you want to maybe last minute come join us. The 2nd through the 3 days is 2, 3, and 4, right?
It's
3, 4, and 5 of November, and then on the 6th is a 1-day class with Debbie Maddie. And you all seen her on a video. She's awesome. You will love her, and that's a lot of fun. So contact Jenny at 920-778-8031 is the number if you want to jump in that and reserve one of those last minute spots. Our sit and sew that we're going to start every other Tuesday is $25, includes lunch. We are full on the 9th, but we have 10 spots on the 23rd of November. If you want to come and sew with us for the day, I will be there with you because I will never pass up an opportunity to sit and stitch. And then we have Primitive Christmas starting November 18th through the 21st. Those are regular store hours, and that's the cool one where we give you a free pincushion pattern with a purchase, and then we give you a bunch of other patterns as well as offering kits for those. So it's really easy to make that minimum purchase to get the free pincushion kit and those other things, other patterns that we have. So that's our biggest event of the year, as most of you know, and that's when you get the coupon book as well. So we do have some coupons for those loyal followers who knows what's going on. And when you see some coupons That's where they're getting them from. That one time a year when we do the primitive Christmas event, we ship you a coupon book as well, or it's just a piece of paper, and then you know when all the coupon codes are for those coupons. And then, yes, come and look at our Yuletide gatherings quilts in the shop if you get a chance, or online for some quick Christmas quilts. I know that we're all starting to think about Christmas and getting those things done. So I think that's it from my list. Did I cover everything?
You did, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so I have 2 letters for Hogs for Heroes, and I need to read these. So this is from Gail Arthur, and she says, Miss Lisa and staff, thank you for allowing me to join your so long for such a good cause, Hogs for Heroes. I have watched each of your videos and cried every time as I listen to you read cards and comments from others who have family that are serving or have served in the military. I have several family members also who have served this great nation that I love, and I am very thankful for all the sacrifices made in order for me to enjoy my freedoms that I have today. Amen, I agree. Please accept this donation for Hogs for Heroes in memory of my grandfather, Sidney Hewitt, Army, and father-in-law, Roger Arthur, Army, in behalf of Michael Jackson, who's in the Marines, Phil Jackson, Marines, and Philip Kinlaw in the Navy, and Jeff Wheeler, Navy also. So thank you, Gail, for all your people and for donating $100. That is awesome. And then this letter is from Beverly Lusk, and she gives us $200. This is crazy. We love it. I would like to thank you for all you are doing for Hogs for Heroes, and congratulations on your beautiful new store. I know, it's so awesome, isn't it, Beverly? I am giving a donation in memory of a special friend, BM3 James Michael Weaver. He served on the Navy ship USS Cree and received the National Defense Medal and the Vietnam Service Medal. He was devoted to God, his country, family, excuse me, old cars, and riding his Harley. Awesome. Thank you again, Lisa. May God bless you. Beverly Lusk, White House, Texas. Thank you, Beverly, for your generous donation. We appreciate that. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be where we're at. And I can't wait for next year when our veteran will get his hog or her hog. Who knows? Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so let's pick a winner of one of the prizes. Jessica, do we have a winner?
Karen Bennett.
Karen Bennett, you win the wool charm bundle, or the wool bundle. It's not charms, they're bigger than charms. So Karen, please email us at store@primitivegatherings.us and send us your email or your physical address so we can get that out to you too. And then Carrie, did you find my stack of stickers? Put a little maker sticker in there as well, the ones that Moda gave me?
Yep, I can grab those.
Okay, so in about a half hour or so, I'll have your finishing instructions up on the website or on my blog, lisabongean.com. And what you're going to need to do is hopefully you have your 20 blocks all stitched. I have mine here, just one set of them. I am still working on the other ones, but or on all the stripes yet. I have to do on those. But if you have not picked out your sashing fabric yet, you know we have the navy that's back ordered. We can't get any more of my navy that until 2022. And then, of course, you see behind me that I picked this little anchor print. But here's a couple other versions of things we have a lot of, I guess. And this one is Ombre Fairy Dust from Vanessa Christensen. This is the one I'm going to starch today for you. So I show you how I starch. That one we have some of. And this nice print here as a base sashing and borders will look awesome as well. We have a bunch of this you can order. And then Tammy Whaley posted her flag blocks in the face group, Stitch with Lisa Bongean, and she used a gray background. So we went and grabbed a couple gray blues. This is a grunge, and this one is $278. That will be on our website as well if you want that one. Or Kansas Trouble has this really beautiful blue-gray homespun. This kind of looks like the one Tammy used. I don't know if hers was homespun or not, but we can get some of this as well. So those are a couple more options in case you are still looking for sashing and border fabrics for your quilt. But here you go. Here's my grunge that I've had. I think, which one is this one called?
That's the eggshell that
The
we're still
eggshell?
waiting on.
So this is one that's already starched and ready for me to cut. But before I do that, I want to show you just briefly, because we always get the starch question, right? So how do you starch? How are we going to starch this big piece of fabric? So this is 4 yards of fairy dust, and I'm just going to cover my pressing station here. So this is my ironing pad, and yes, I just flung that off. So if somebody wants to grab that for me. And so you see how I just cover my ironing station with some old towels, and they're not pretty, they're just old towels. And the reason I do this is so not to get my ironing pad all saturated with starch. But, okay, so this is a 4 yard hunk. So when you get your pattern, I want you to look at it, and it says to cut 2 borders at 69.5 and then 2 at 61.5. And I think that is a little bit bigger than what we need. No, it's the right size. So when you see that, you want to make sure that you cut your borders a little bit bigger to allow for a little shrinkage. So I have a little, I don't want to start this whole full yard piece at once. So I'm going to cut off the borders first. So I need 69 inches. So I'm going to do 35 here, 35, another 35. So that gives me 70. And then maybe about 2 or 3 inches here. And then I'm just going to give it a little snip. Rip that off. So now I have 2 manageable pieces instead of one big piece. And this will be for the borders, and the other piece is for the sashing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find the salvage, because this is my width here. So then the ripped part becomes, I'm going to lay that on my big board, or whatever you want to call it. So I have the 44 or 45 on here. Are we good, Kaylee? Can we see everything?
Yep.
Okay. So now, instead of having that 4 yards all sitting on the floor, I'm just going to show you how to do this in 2 manageable pieces. So here is the starch I use, the Faultless Heavy Finish. Now they do have a gold one out there. It's called Luxe Finish. That one is not really stiff. So I did try that at one time to just check it out, but it's very flimsy. It doesn't get nice and stiff like we want. So if you have any hand problems at all, you may want to go grab a handle for a spray can. These are in Home Depot, Lowe's, any place like that. Your hardware store will carry these. And this just helps easily, instead of doing this for long periods of time, this trigger handle works really good. You just got to make sure you line it up straight on. Okay, so my fabric is right side down, so the wrong side is facing up. And I do that because then you can see exactly where you might have missed a spot. So this is coming out really funny. There we go. So I just do like this little rectangle, and then I just start spraying everything in. So if you haven't done any starching yet and missed that first video, this is kind of just a recap of that. All right, I don't really like those, but they do work really good if you have hand problems. Which I'm lucky I don't yet. All right, so as I'm just kind of starching and filling this in, let's pick another winner of the 10, is it 10 fat quarters?
Yep.
Okay, who's winning those 10 fat quarters?
Rosie Kreider.
Rosie! Thank you, Rosie.
Kreider.
Kreider?
Kreider.
Kreider. Yeah, I know Rosie. She's local. She's a long-time patron of Primitive Gatherings. All right, so you kind of see, I don't know if can you kind of like tip that, Kaylee?
You can kind of see it.
All right, so you can kind of see like definitely how wet it is. And you can see where I missed. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you want to do it on the wrong side, because then you can fill in those little spots that you might have missed. So you want it nice and wet. Now, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to fold it up without stepping on it and tripping myself. And then just pull it back a little bit until you can see the wet of the previous starching, and then you just keep doing it. So then I just make a line down the middle and I kind of do a perimeter, and that is how you're going to starch your whole piece. Both sections, your sashing and your borders. But like I said, I just broke it down into manageable pieces. All right, do we have any questions at all about anything that we've gone over with in all 20 weeks so far? This is 21 actually. So does anybody have any questions or concerns, or is anybody still on the fence about their border and sashing fabrics? We'd love to hear from you. Anything you want to say?
They do want more information on your shirt.
On my shirt. Oh, guess what? Bluebird Boutique, 850 Racine Street in Menasha, Wisconsin. If somebody can look up their telephone number and they want one of these fun t-shirts, they have all kinds of t-shirts like this. And that is Tanya, who took over my old store. She's leasing it from us. And like I said, I've been a long time customer of hers here in Winneconne. And I'm super excited that she jumped on the chance to open up a bigger store in a more populated area. So again, I'm not going to do any more than this, but you see how that all soaks in and how you just keep piling it upon itself until it's all starched. And then you're going to go hang it on your drying rack and let it dry. All right, so I'm just going to pass this off to Carrie. She's going to put that over there. I am going to finish this though, because I'm actually going to use this in one of my sets, but I don't want to waste too much time doing that here today. All right, so Miss Heidi, do you want to come over and grab some of this stuff from me? I don't believe we need this anymore. Any questions, Kaylee? Are they all being shy today?
There's a question. Do you starch the back of your the backing fabric?
I don't starch the backing fabric. Anything that we're going to piece, cut apart, those are the things I starch. I do not starch backgrounds for applique. Only quilts that are pieced. So I hope that kind of clears that up. All right, so here is my piece of grunge. And this is how I do this. So I'm going to rip off that 69 inch, and I just want to make sure that, I'm going to try the other end here. See, I usually try to rip my end, which this one is ripped. Sorry guys, I keep flinging around. So I always try to rip my fabric for that first cut. And I know that's kind of hard sometimes when you get it from the store, but always know that if I give you fabric, I try to give you plenty to do a snip and rip and clean off that edge where it might have been cut with a rotary cutter at the quilt shop. All right, so I'm going to measure on this one now enough fabric to put aside for my borders. So there's 70 inches and maybe just about 2 inches there as well. Snip, rip. Okay, so let's just keep using this one. Now, it says in your pattern that we need 2 at 69.5 and then 2 at 61.25. All right, so we need 6.5 inches. So when you need 6.5 inches, I cut that a little bigger as well. So salvage, gone. So we're ripping the salvage off here. All right, there you go. And then, make sure I got this. So this is the width here. Now I need 4 6.5 inch for my borders. Now I'm going to cut 7. I'm going to snip and rip 7 inches. So I'm going to find my cutter here. So I'm just going to go 7, 7, 8, that's 3, and then the 4th one. All right. So this piece left over here, this can be my binding. So I'm gonna have Carrie fold and label that one for binding. And then here are my 4 borders. So we're gonna rip those. Don't be afraid to rip. I know this scares the bejesus out of some people, but you know, it's okay.
Can you explain
You're watching me do it.
Can you explain the reason why ripping is better?
So we're ripping, so everything is straight of grain. If you've never done this and you just rotary cut everything, and you maybe like when your quilt is hanging, you have this little ripple in it that'll go like this instead of hanging nice and straight and flat. That may be part of that. And how you put your borders on. And I'll explain how we're gonna put our borders on too. All right.
Look how straight that is.
Yeah, so that's look at right from beginning to end, it's totally and completely perfectly the same size. And ripping will get that for you. And yes, we are going to trim up a little bit with our rotary cutter, but for the most part, it's basically beautifully straight now. So now I'm going to fold in half 2 of my borders here and find the center. And because we're starched, guess what? It just holds that crease really nice. I can just pinch that. I don't even have to go to the iron, but you will. You want to go to the iron, but I'm just kind of skipping that step right now because we're doing this on camera and I don't have it here with me. All right, so the next one. So these are my 2 long borders. I'm going to leave these long and set them aside. You're going to want to press that little bit of a curl that you might get from ripping. So those are my long ones. These are my short ones. Now we're not going to cut these until it's time. So even though the pattern tells you to cut, 69.5, you still might want to measure your quilt to make sure your piecing is not way off or anything like that. Or a lot of times I just make it fit the size it's supposed to. That compensating thing again. All right, so this has to be pressed because right there's the fold of the fabric as it came off the bolt. So these are my borders, and I am just going to, like I said, set them aside until they're ready. And you can label, make sure you have 2. So those are my borders. And then now, what we're gonna do here is fold this back up. Like so. Can you just give that a nice little press now? So our iron is over there and Carrie will press that for me. So do we have any other, here's a little announcement. So the number at Bluebird Boutique, if you're interested in just seeing what they have, and I'm sure they have a website, you could ask them what it is, but their phone number is 920-706-0007, and that's the Winneconne location.
They don't have a Menasha location yet. It's not established.
Number yet.
Oh, they don't have a number for Menasha. They just opened about a week or 2 ago. So this is the number for the Winneconne one, and they had it there because that's actually where I bought this one. So prior to them opening, I've had this for them. So while Carrie's pressing that a little bit, do we have any other questions right now?
No, they're all amazed at ripping. Ripping fabric is amazing.
Isn't it crazy? Who'd have thought, right? But it's so simple and easy to rip, and you'll never be disappointed, and your quilts will be flat and no waving when they're done.
Julie says, knowing how much I spend on fabric, my husband would have a heart attack if he saw me all of a sudden ripping it all up.
No. It's good. So you can actually fold it and iron it. Yes, there you go. Salvage to salvage. There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right, hang on 1 second. I got your roller cutter. All right. Oh, I do have one right here. It's not.
Oh, is that right?
Rulers. Make sure I have a ruler. Maybe I'll do a little cutting for you. And here's the pattern that I've been winging around all day.
So then do you rip wool and flannel and everything?
Well, it depends on what it's used for piecing. Remember, piecing, we're piecing here. you always rip wool when you've got big pieces and you're cutting that down for sure. But so like I'm going to, because I'm going to cut sashing next. You wouldn't rip that, okay? Because it's not a big long border, and we don't have to worry about anything there. So you only rip when you need big things like your backings and your borders and stuff like that. I don't rip everything and then cut it down, but just those big pieces. And it's okay if you iron the fold into it.
You want the fold
Yeah.
iron? Is there a reason why you ripped it at 6.5 but not at 7?
I did rip it at 7.
Oh, okay.
I ripped at 7. So if you're asking why I didn't rip at 6.5, all right, you could rip at 6.5. I just like a little bit of insurance if I need to trim. And to tell you the truth, like a lot of times with my flannel quilts, I'll rip that little bit bigger and I never even trim it off. I just put it on because, you don't get a lot, with the flannel, you don't get those little strings in there. So depending on the color of the fabric, I will trim or not trim. But our Moda fabrics are such high quality that ripping does not even do anything bad to it. So I showed you that, right? Remember I showed, look, Jess, I'm not even going to trim this off. I ripped those borders for Wildflower Garden and just put them on. I never went back and trimmed them on.
Yeah.
But you do have to measure then. If you put on borders that are bigger than what the pattern calls for, make sure you measure before you rip or cut down that other border after it goes on, because you adjusted that width a little bit. All right, here we go. She brings it to me like it's a shroud,
It is.
right?
My hard work.
Yes. Okay, so I also like to cut 4 layers instead of 2 layers. So I'm going to fold it in half now. And the only thing we need to cut is, we do have something else on here. Okay, so what do I have left over that I gave you for binding?
Yeah.
So do I have 4 times 4, 16 inches here, or what do I have? Yeah, barely. Okay, so I also need 4 3.5 inches at 57 for the sashings between your blocks. Okay, so let's just, I'm probably going to need 1 off of this, and then I'll get 3 here. And again, I would snip and rip like 4 or 4.5, whatever you want to do there. So you can use that piece. And then let's see if I make sure I get that last one off, because this is my actual fabric. I'm going to need this. So I am just going to make sure I have that other border. Got a little bit of selvage here, and then I need 3.5. So I'm going backwards. Let's see, it's easier to go backwards this way. All right. So I'm just going to snip that and rip this off. So I have 4 sashings here. There, put that with that. So we'll label that sashing. And now I can fold this back up again and cut it. I didn't practice this, can you tell? We're just kind of winging it, just like we would be doing at home. We don't care. All right, so let's do this. Now I need 15 3.5 by 10 1/4. So obviously we are going to cut 10 1/4 inch width, or 10.5 inch. And then what did I do with my phone? Did I shut it off? Yep. Anybody got a calculator quick? So this is how you work at home, right? So when you need 15 3.5, or 15, let's say 4 inches, our width of fabric is 42 inches divided by 4 equals 10. So I'm going to get 10 of the 15 out of 1 strip. So I need 2 strips. So I'm just going to snip and rip. And remember, I cut off that little bit there. So I for sure I'm going to use almost the majority of 2 strips. Now I need this to be 10 1/4. So I'm going to go, let's just say 11 is good. So snip, rip, do another 11 because I need 2. I'm only going to get 10 out of that one. So we have lots of fabric for binding. So I knew that 4 yards was gonna be generous. There we go. Okay, so before I cut this though, my little pressing queen, press secretary. Yes, it's a press secretary with an iron. Okay, write that down so we don't forget. All right, she is going to quickly. So see what I mean? Like when you rip, you get that little bit of wrinkle at the edge. So Carrie's going to go press those flat, and while she does that, we are going to pick another winner of the Yuletide Gathering Charm Pack.
Michelle Dickinson.
Michelle Dickinson, store at primitivegatherings.us is your email to send us your address. All right, any other questions that we get?
Why would you starch the front of your quilt but not the back of your quilt?
Because I'm worried about shrinkage when I'm piecing. So I'm not worried about the back. I mean, the back is going to shrink a little bit, but I mean, if you want to, knock yourself out, starch back. But there's no need to do it. I mean, you can. I mean,
But I
you're not
wouldn't.
cutting it. It's full big pieces. All right, here we go. So now we got these. Oh, so we're gonna fold them up. Remember, I like to be a little bit efficient here. So I'm layering them together. Stepping on my scissors. I don't want to fall on that. All right. I know we don't have the overhead camera, but now I'm going to trim this ripped edge, and I'm going to turn it around here. And this needs to be 10 1/4. So 10 1/4. On that is there a square over there? My 12 1/2 over there on the table.
Let's just see what it looks like here.
Is it still there doing that?
It's still doing it. It's so funky. But they can kind of see.
Okay, so I need 10 1/4, so I'm gonna find this ruler here. Okay, 10 1/4. Clean up the edge and make sure I got a salvage in here, so make sure I cut deep enough to get rid of that salvage. So a nice generous 1/2 inch here, probably I'll get rid of that. All right, and then now I need 3 1/2, 15 of them. So 10 1/2. I'm gonna go at 10 1/2. So 10 1/2, 7, 3 1/2. That's the math. 10 1/2. 7, 3 1/2. Four, so that's 12. I need another 4 for 15, right? Or I'll have a little bit more, or 16, right? 12 and 4 is 16, last time I checked. All right, so now here is our sashing. This is extra. This is extra. Okay, and now you're gonna lay out your blocks in whatever order you want. You don't have to do them in the same. And then you're going to right sides together, put these on. And whether if one is a little bit bigger or a little smaller, it doesn't matter, because with all those strips, you're bound to have a little bit of wiggle in there. So just pin the beginning and pin the end. And if you have a little bit of baggage, remember, this goes to the feed dogs, the back side. So this will be down this way, and make sure if your fabric is the right side down, pin in the middle, and run those through your sewing machine. And that's how you do the sashings between the blocks. And then you will continue to do the same cutting on your borders and your sashings. So you will lay them, you will trim the length, and then you trim the width to the exact sizes that you need after you rip like I did. So do you have any questions at all on that as well? Are we all good with that? Did it make sense? Do any of you do it that way? Or is this all just new stuff for you? Yeah, so and remember, this is my way I do it. It's not the right way, it's not the wrong way, it's not the only way, but this is how I create nice flat hanging quilts. And just a little bit about your borders. When your middle of your quilt is put together, you need to measure your quilt in 3 or 4 spots, find out what that measurement is, and make an average. And if it's kind of an inch or 2 or an inch or a half inch off or whatever, you can decide what it's going to be and cut your borders that, and you pin on the ends, pin in the middle, pin on the ends, pin in between, and then you stitch. You don't ever just add that border on and stitch off the end and whack off what's left over. That is a big no-no. All right, so you want your quilt to be a certain size, you cut it that size, you pin in the middle, you pin in the ends, you pin in between, and then you stitch it on. So that's where you're going to get a nice, perfectly hanging quilt. All right, do we have any questions at all? Or are we just all good?
They're taking it all in, I think.
They're taking it all in? All right. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I might have missed. Do you think of anything? No? Okay. So you see you have a lot of fabric left over for your binding and for your borders. So here's my pieces. So make sure you get in the habit of, pinning, sashing, pinning. These are my borders. And this is what's left over for binding. So, hey, you can make some pillowcases probably with some of this that might be left over. But I always want to give you a little bit more fabric in case some of you wanted to make this a little bigger, that there's a little extra fabric there for you, or just in case you make a mistake. So there's plenty of room. Nobody complains that if you give them a little bit more fabric. So here's my border. This is left over, my sashing. All right, so again, on your borders, lay those down, press them, trim them to the 6.5, trim the size that you need, and add those like I said with all the pinning. Okay? All right, do we have one more prize left over?
Yes, we do.
The book?
Got straight.
No, here's the book.
Other
It's
side.
the,
Oh, I guess.
Other side. Right there. Yep. Got it.
Okay. All right, Kathy Blakey, you have won our Yuletide Gatherings book. So again, make sure you send us your email so we can get that up. We'll throw a sticker in there as well, so don't forget that it might be inside the pages when we put that in there. And okay, if you don't have any more questions for me, I want you to get that fabric either ordered, starched, cut, and go to town and get your quilt done. And we want you to share them on our Stitch with Lisa Bongean Facebook group. Please, please, please share them. And tell us what you're going to do with yours. Are you keeping it? Are you giving it away? We'd love to hear anything that you have to say about this. So we appreciate you hanging around for all this last 4+ months. And we appreciate you supporting us and our Hogs for Heroes cause. So everybody, can't wait to see what you make. Bye now.